Our ancestors and unborn children rejoice. Are we dead? No. I say we are now alive, seeing through eyes that have been denied us since being born into the darkness of bondage. Stand with us, that your other captive brothers and sisters also know freedom. Stand that our children, for generations to come, will know that with the supernatural power of God, we straighten our backs against the works of the evil one. Stand with us.
Welcome to our historical exploration series. Today we delve into the compelling story of Nat Turner and his connection to the Nottoway Indians. Nat Turner, born in 1800 in Southampton County, Virginia, is one of the most famous figures in American history, known for leading a slave rebellion in 1831. But there's a lesser-known aspect of his story, the connection to the Nottoway Indians. The Nottoway Indians, native to southeastern Virginia, were part of the Iroquoian language family. They lived in villages along the Nottoway River, maintaining a rich cultural heritage and deep ties to the land. During Nat Turner's time, the Nottoway Indians were experiencing significant pressure from European settlers, leading to the loss of their lands and cultural displacement. It's believed that the environment of resistance and resilience influenced Turner and his perspective on freedom and justice. Nat Turner's rebellion, one of the largest slave uprisings in the United States, was driven by his desire to fight against oppression and seek liberation for his people. The spirit of resistance that permeated the region, including the Nottoway Indian struggle, played a part in shaping his revolutionary mindset. Join us as we uncover more about this fascinating intersection of histories. The legacy of Nat Turner and the Nottoway Indians reminds us of the enduring fight for justice and the powerful connections between different tribes and their struggles.
I will briefly summarize the general history of Nat Turner's life, as most people are already familiar with the general aspects of his early years. Nat Turner was born on October 2, 1800, in Southampton County, Virginia. His parents, Nancy Turner, and some evidence suggest that his father is Benjamin Turner. From a young age, Nat Turner exhibited a keen intellect and was noted for his ability to read and write, a rare skill among enslaved people at the time. His intelligence earned him the respect of his people and even some European settlers. Turner was deeply religious, claiming to have visions and messages from God, which he interpreted as signs guiding his actions. His spiritual beliefs played a crucial role in shaping his resolve to lead his people to freedom. Southampton County was a predominantly agricultural area with a significant population of enslaved people. The oppressive environment in which Turner grew up was marked by severe restrictions on the movement and freedoms of enslaved people. Witnessing the brutal treatment of his people and experiencing it firsthand fueled his desire for freedom and justice. Turner's literacy set him apart and allowed him to engage with religious texts and other writings that further informed his views on slavery and resistance. He often preached to other slaves, interpreting his visions and messages as divine guidance to prepare for a greater purpose. These early experiences were foundational in forming the revolutionary path he would later take. In the early 19th century, Southampton County, Virginia, was a landscape marked by the profound contrasts of freedom and oppression. This area, rich in agricultural wealth, was also steeped in the harsh realities of slavery, where American Indians, including the ancestors of Nat Turner, were forced to toil under severe conditions. The region was historically significant for the Nottoway Indians, an Iroquoian-speaking tribe known for their resilience and deep-rooted cultural heritage. The Nottoway lived along the river that bears their name, navigating the challenges posed by European settlers who encroached upon their lands. This very soil of the Nottoway Indians became a crucible of cultural resistance. As the Nottoway Indians faced displacement and cultural erosion, their struggle for sovereignty echoed in the burgeoning consciousness of young Nat Turner. Thus, Southampton County served as a backdrop their narratives of the Nottoway Indians' enduring presence and fight for survival, and that of Nat Turner's ancestors, laying the generational groundwork for what would become one of the most significant rebellions in American history. As we delve deeper into Nat Turner's genealogy, it is essential to trace back to his ancestral origins, which lie deeply intertwined with the narratives of the Nottoway Indians in Virginia. Turner's lineage extends back to his grandmother Edith Turner, also known as Wané Roonseraw, chiefess of the Nottoway Indians. While they claim records of Turner's grandparents are scarce, which is somewhat true, as is often the case in our people's genealogies due to scant documentation, or more correctly, by way of underhanded tactics by inhumane and devious individuals such as the infamous Walter Plecker. It is understood that the Nottoway were part of a community bound by adversities and cultural retentions. These ancestors lived under the pervasive shadow of slavery, yet they nurtured a spirit of resistance and a profound connection to their heritage, which they passed down through generations. In this era, the Nottoway community often drew upon traditions and coping mechanisms to maintain a sense of identity and resilience. These cultural practices, stories, and the collective memory of freedom played a crucial role in shaping the mindset of subsequent generations. Sadly, Nat Turner's father's history is not clearly known. As for his mother, being the daughter of Chiefess Wané Roonseraw, her Indian roots provided a silent testament to survival and resistance, and also deeply impacted his resolve and convictions. Thus, Turner's genealogical background is a tapestry woven with threads of resilience, resistance, and a yearning for freedom, echoing the struggles and strengths of his indigenous ancestors. Now, we will delve deeper into the life and legacy of Nat Turner's grandmother, Edith Turner, also known as Wané Roonseraw, the esteemed chiefess of the Nottoway Indians. As the mother of Nat's mother, Nancy Turner, her influential role and cultural heritage significantly shaped the environment and principles surrounding Nat from a young age. Now let's take a look at the book. Turner Descendants of the Nottoway Indians, Cattashaw Rock Town, Southampton County, Virginia, written by William A. Hinson. First, looking at the 1808 Nottoway Indian Census. Fact 1. In 1/10 Iroquoian Cherowanoki, Nottoway, Nadawa, Indian Edith Turner was also known as Edie Turner, Wané Roonseraw. Fact 1 and 3/4 Iroquoian Nottoway, Nadawa, Indian. Fact 2. In Queen of the Iroquoian Nottoway, Nadawa, Indians, she was known by the title of Queen. 1808 Nottoway Indian Census. The census is a report from the trustees of the reservation to the governor and is held by the Library of Virginia in Executive Papers, June 21, July 22, 1808, Governor William H. Cabell, Inbox 154A. Nancy Turner was also known as Nanny Turner. Fact 1. In 1/2 Iroquoian Nottoway, Nadawa, Indian Notes for Nancy Turner, History of the Nottoway, Indian tribe researched and compiled over many years by Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown of the Nottoway Indian tribe. Listed here from the tribal website address Nottoway.org, with special permission from Chief Walt Brown and the Tribal Council of the Nottoway tribe. Notes for Henry Turner, History of the Nottoway. Indian tribe researched and compiled over many years by Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown of the Nottoway Indian tribe. Listed here from the tribal website address Nottoway.org, with special permission from Chief Walt Brown and the Tribal Council of the Nottoway tribe. Let's break down this information about the Turner family and their connections to the Nottoway Indians, presented in the book by William A. Hinson, Turner Descendants of the Nottoway Indians, Cattashaw Rock Town, Southampton County, Virginia. Edith Turner, also known as Edie Turner and Wané Roonseraw, is identified as having significant heritage from the Iroquoian Nottoway tribe, specifically 1/10. This indicates a partial lineage connecting her to this tribe, which is known by several names including, however more correctly, Cherowinhaka, but also Cherowanoki and Nottoway. The term Nadawa is another name for, or the correct pronunciation of, Nottoway. She held a prestigious title referred to as the Queen of the Iroquoian Nottoway Indians, reflecting her high status and leadership role within the tribe. A document from 1808, often called a census, exists that was a report from the trustees of the reservation to the governor of Virginia. This document is important because it officially records information about the tribe and its members during that period. It's stored in the Library of Virginia under the executive papers of Governor William H. Cabell. Nancy Turner, also known as Nanny Turner, the mother of Nat Turner, is documented to have 1/2 Iroquoian Nottoway Indian heritage. This implies that she was half indigenous, highlighting a strong connection to her mother Edith's lineage. Additional notes from the Nottoway tribe. The history of Nancy Turner, as well as Henry Turner, another family member, has been thoroughly researched and compiled by Chief Walt Red Hawk Brown of the Nottoway Indian tribe. This research is accessible through the tribe's official website with permission from Chief Walt Brown and the Tribal Council. This body of research is significant because it adds depth and authenticity to the Turner family's documented history and their ties to the Nottoway tribe. Edith Turner was a respected leader within the Nottoway tribe, known by her titles and her partial indigenous heritage. Official documents from the early 1800s confirm the identities and statuses of tribe members like Edith and Nancy Turner. Detailed tribe histories are kept and shared by tribal leaders today, helping to preserve and understand the rich heritage of families connected to the Chero and Hakka, Nottoway Indians. The research referenced serves as an important resource for understanding the lineage and cultural connections of the Turner family to the Chero and Hakka, Nottoway tribe, showing how these historical ties have been recognized and preserved over the years. In 1808, the Nottoway Indian census recorded a significant moment in the history of the Nottoway tribe, capturing the lives and contributions of key figures. Among them was Edith Turner, better known as Edie Turner, or by her honored title Wané Roonseraw, Queen of the Iroquoian Chero-N-Hakka, or Nottoway Indians. Edie Turner was 54 years old at the time of the census. She is described as practicing traditional skills such as knitting, sewing, and housewifery, but her role extended far beyond daily tasks. She was recognized as the leader of her people, embodying resilience and cultural preservation during a time of intense colonial pressure. The census also highlights land usage within the Nottoway community. Edie Turner and her family managed and maintained portions of the tribal land. This included working plantations and ensuring the survival of their traditions and people despite the challenges they faced. Edie Turner's legacy connects directly to her family, including her daughter Nancy Turner, sometimes referred to as Nanny. Nancy, as recorded, was also integral to the family's survival and was noted for her skills in weaving, knitting, and sewing, skills that reflected the cultural heritage passed down from her mother. Wané Roonseraw's title as queen wasn't just symbolic, it signified her position as a matriarch and leader of the Nottoway people, overseeing not only the land but also the cultural and spiritual well-being of her tribe. She was a guardian of their identity and autonomy in the face of growing pressures from colonization. This connection is even more profound when considering her grandson, Nat Turner. Nat, a figure synonymous with resistance, inherited not only the spirit of rebellion from his enslaved environment, but also the legacy of leadership and defiance from his grandmother, Wané Roonseraw. Her influence and heritage are interwoven into the very fabric of his story. Edie Turner, Wané Roonseraw, Queen of the Nottoway Indians, represents a vital chapter in this history, a chapter that connects the struggle for liberation to a legacy of leadership and resilience. Her story and that of her descendants reminds us of the enduring fight for freedom and cultural survival.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the Byrd papers, and you would read his diary on April the 7th, 1728, he actually visited our reservation in Jerusalem, Cortland, Virginia. And what's so interesting about that, he described how our people look. He said the young men came out and their faces were painted and they made all kinds of grotesque figures and they danced for him to the sound of a gore drum stretched tight with an animal skin. Then he said the young women came out and they were tall and shapely and dressed in their finery. Their hair was braided and they had white and blue conch shells in their hair that hung like locks and around their neck. And then they had wrapped around their body a match coat, which was red and blue, which is a shawl, that fitted loosely about their body, that their mahogany skin shone through. Then he went. Let me get this point. He went on to say that these dark angels would make exceptional wives for the English planters, and their dark skin would bleach out in 2 generations. Unquote. That's a quote that he made.
So that was the whole goal, was to try to bleach out, as they say.
Yeah, but it kind of tells you that first Americans were a rich brown people. They were mahogany in color.
Nat Turner had direct lineage to the Nottoway tribe through his grandmother, Edie Turner, also known as Wané Roonseraw, the chiefess of the Nottoway Indians. His deep connection to this lineage framed his actions not merely as a rebellion, but as a continuation of the Nottoway legacy of resistance against encroachment and cultural erasure. Turner's heritage placed him within the historical context of indigenous struggles against colonial and cultural obliteration. This identity enriched his motivations, viewing them as an act of resistance deeply rooted in the need to protect his tribe and their ancestral lands from further dispossession. His intimate knowledge of the local lands, shared with the Nottoway, was crucial in the planning and execution of his rebellion. Familiar landscapes provided strategic advantages, essential for the organization and success of his guerrilla-style resistance. Turner's Nottoway heritage positioned him uniquely within the broader narrative of indigenous resilience and defiance. His actions are thus seen not only as a significant moment in the history of indigenous resistance, but also as part of a continuing fight against the forces of colonialism and oppression. Acknowledging Turner's Nottoway roots encourages a re-evaluation of historical narratives that have traditionally overlooked or marginalized indigenous perspectives in the stories of resistance. This acknowledgement highlights the interconnectedness of indigenous experiences and the comprehensive nature of their struggle against systemic injustices. Nat Turner's identity as a member of the Nottoway tribe profoundly deepens our understanding of the 1831 rebellion. By recognizing his actions as part of a larger indigenous resistance, we gain a broader perspective on the historical significance of his efforts, portraying them as a crucial fight not only for his tribe but for all indigenous communities affected by colonial pressures. This narrative serves as a poignant reminder of the enduring legacies of resistance among indigenous peoples in America. Before we continue, it's crucial to highlight that this is the exact same location as the Nottoway Indians, involving people with the same names and clear connections. Given these undeniable overlaps, it is impossible for this information to be inaccurate. To continue, according to the American Battlefield Trust, Nat Turner was born on October 2, 1800, in Southampton County, Virginia, as a slave of Benjamin Turner. His mother was an enslaved woman named Nancy, but his father is unknown. Turner was allowed to learn how to read and write, and he was instructed in religious matters. As a result, Turner became devoutly religious, spending his free time reading the Bible, praying, and fasting. As a child, some even thought he would become a prophet due to his uncanny ability to describe events that happened before he was born. He would eventually become a preacher, believing he received messages from God through visions and nature. In 1821, Turner ran away from the plantation of Samuel Turner, his former owner's brother. While the information provided by the American Battlefield Trust aligns with the general timeline, location, and key figures associated with Nat Turner's life, a closer examination of government records, census data, and Native American records reveals significant inconsistencies in the details. The narrative stating that Nat Turner was born on October 2, 1800, in Southampton County, Virginia, as a slave of Benjamin Turner, and later escaped from the plantation of Samuel Turner, may omit or misinterpret critical aspects of his heritage and connections. For instance, government and Indian records from the same period document the Turner family as part of the Nottoway Indian community in Southampton County. These records specifically include Edith Turner, known as Wané Roonseraw, Queen of the Nottoway Indians, and her daughter Nancy Turner. This maternal lineage directly ties Nat Turner to the Nottoway tribe, situating his ancestry within a broader indigenous context. However, this connection is often overlooked or minimized in mainstream historical narratives, resulting in an incomplete portrayal of Turner's life and identity. Additionally, the statement that Turner's father is unknown reflects the erasure of familial and cultural ties commonly experienced by enslaved and indigenous peoples. Historical records suggest that Turner's upbringing, deeply influenced by his maternal lineage, connected him to the land and the Nottoway community in ways that traditional slave narratives fail to acknowledge. This omission highlights a broader trend of historical inaccuracies or simplifications when recounting the lives of figures like Turner. Furthermore, the claim that Turner ran away in 1821 may oversimplify a complex event. Historical records indicate that Turner returned voluntarily after his escape, likely influenced by a deep sense of divine purpose tied to his cultural and spiritual identity. This nuance is crucial in understanding Turner's motivations and the interplay between his indigenous heritage and his fight against slavery. While the general framework of Nat Turner's life aligns with the provided narrative, inaccuracies in the details, particularly regarding his ancestry and cultural ties, can be addressed through a more thorough examination of government and tribal records. These records illuminate a richer and more complex history, showing Turner not only as a leader in the fight against slavery, but also as a figure deeply rooted in the legacy of the Nottoway Indians and their resistance to colonial domination. By acknowledging these connections, we can better understand the full scope of Turner's life and the historical forces that shaped his rebellion.
It is my honor to present this remains to you.
Being able to hold that piece of his body that he couldn't own for himself, we'll be able to treat it with the respect and honor that it is due, that we're going to be able to give him the burial that he deserves.
We're here representing the generations before us. Sure. We're just messengers.
Sure.
Brethren, I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise in the assembly of the righteous.
Thank you for giving him back to us and for letting us take him home. I hope that people recognize it for what it is, a really significant step in acknowledging a part of our history that has been, to a large degree, intentionally dismissed. Having this piece of Nat Turner's body to bury and to treat as a man is a huge blessing for us, because it will be significant to all of those families who don't have the bodies of their ancestors.
It's time to celebrate him, and I cannot wait for us to be as a group, as a family, so we can do that.
Nat Turner's life and legacy represent a complex narrative woven from his heritage, faith, and unyielding pursuit of freedom. Born on October 2, 1800, in Southampton County, Virginia, Turner's story begins in a location deeply intertwined with the Nottoway Indians, a connection that runs through his maternal lineage. His grandmother, Edith Turner, also known as Wané Roonseraw, was a queen of the Nottoway Indians, and his mother, Nancy Turner, further solidified his ties to this indigenous community. This heritage situates Turner within a dual legacy: the resistance of the enslaved and the resilience of Americans Indians fighting for survival in a colonial world. The Nottoway Indian census of 1808 explicitly records Edith Turner as a significant figure within the tribe, highlighting her role in preserving cultural practices and sustaining her community amid the challenges of displacement and colonial encroachment. Nancy Turner, recorded alongside Edith, continues this legacy of survival and labor, contributing to the family's endurance through traditional skills and cultural resilience. These records place the Turner family within the heart of the Nottoway community, providing irrefutable evidence of Nat Turner's connection to this land and its people. Nat Turner's upbringing as an enslaved person introduced him to the harsh realities of systemic oppression, but his unique education and deep religiosity set him apart. Allowed to read and write, an uncommon privilege for the enslaved, Turner immersed himself in the Bible, developing a profound sense of spirituality. His visions and religious interpretations fueled his belief in a divine mission to lead his people out of bondage. The rebellion Turner led in 1831 was not only a response to the brutality of slavery but also an embodiment of the resistance deeply rooted in his ancestry. The same Southampton County that witnessed his uprising was the ancestral land of the Nottoway Indians, a tribe that shared in the struggle against colonial oppression. Turner's actions can be understood as a continuation of this legacy of resistance, a fight for liberation not just for himself and his fellow enslaved, but also for the broader ideals of justice and autonomy that his indigenous lineage represented. The complexity of Turner's identity as a descendant of the Nottoway tribe and an enslaved individual challenges traditional narratives. His rebellion serves as a symbol of intersectional resistance, uniting the struggles of enslaved people and American Indians against systemic exploitation and erasure. The connections between the Turner family, the Nottoway Indians, and their shared location reinforce the inextricable links between their histories. Nat Turner's life cannot be understood without acknowledging the profound influence of his heritage. His grandmother's leadership as Wané Roonseraw and his mother's perseverance as part of the Nottoway community laid the foundation for Turner's revolutionary spirit. His rebellion was not an isolated act of defiance, but a continuation of a deeply rooted legacy of resistance, transcending the boundaries of race and culture. Turner's story, grounded in his ties to the Nottoway people and his religious fervor, remains a powerful reminder of the enduring fight for freedom and justice in the face of oppression. If you would like to express your encouragement towards these works and content, please go to paypal.me/Svnoyi, Wahya, YT, or you can even directly contribute through Cash App at $Svnoyi, Wahya. Any amount you give will be immensely appreciated. Thank you for your generosity.